Hey, it's Maggie Wilde, the potentialist. I've actually posed myself a little challenge that I'd like to share with you over the coming days, weeks, months, perhaps. It may go on for years, who knows. I have been, over the years of practicing in therapy and helping other people overcome some pretty major challenges, I have been asked a lot of confronting questions that people are dealing with that have actually affected me as well, personally in my life. So somebody might be asking a question about their health or their eating patterns or their weight or their grief or their loss or their fears, their doubts, their inner critic mind, what goes on between the head that stops us from being who we are. And many of the questions I get asked from clients in my clinic, I actually do relate to, because there are certain aspects of my life that I've been challenged with, as everybody has a story. And so what I wanted to do, and I've been asked by clients numerous times to do this, and I've decided, maybe it is time for me to share the warts and all of Maggie Wilde. I'm going to start a segment called Ask Maggie Wilde. And I'm going to post maybe a couple of times a week answers to questions, and I'll keep them under a minute. Answers to questions that clients have asked me throughout the years, and any that you want to email me with now. You just need to go to the top of my page and click on the email us link, and that will email me direct as well, and you can ask a question. And I'm going to give you on five very specific topics. So I'm going to keep it to 5 very specific topics, because these are topics that have held me back in my life for the first 4 decades of my life, and that I've had to use the types of techniques that I've developed, the CPR brain training and all of the control program and rewiring that I've developed. I've had to use them to overcome personally. So I have personal first-hand experience of them. So I'm going to give you the 5 topics. And if your questions are relevant in any way to any of these 5 topics, you're more than welcome to email me just at the top of the page a question, and I will do my best to post a little 1-minute answer. And if I don't know the answer, and I can only answer you from my personal experience, whether it's my personal experience of overcoming it myself or having treated a client as well who was dealing with that as well, and how the techniques I used or what I did to help them do that as well. So it's going to be raw, because sometimes a question might trigger me to, look at the wiring that might still be there deep down, because we're all a work in progress. And I'm going to keep it as honest as I possibly can as well, because I believe that when you really relate to somebody, and I know this from my experience in clinic, when somebody really relates to an experience that you're sharing and you've come through it on the other side, then it can sometimes, and more often than not, motivate, stimulate, or inspire that person to ask the right question in order to help themselves too. So these little 1-minute segments are going to be tips on the particular questions that I'm asked, and there's no question that you can't ask, so please feel free. And if I can get to it, I will. If I can't get to answer that question, if I get inundated and I can't get to answer that question within 30 days, I will post a personal reply back as well at some point, so that you will always get a response. If you don't get and we'll tag you or we'll send a private message to you if your question has been answered in a 1-minute segment, so that you know to look out for that Ask Maggie Wilde segment. So the 5 topics that we're going to have Maggie Wilde open book time. We're going to touch on the poverty cycle, overcoming the poverty cycle, the poverty wiring around it's hard to earn money, the sabotage, and that's another segment, sabotage and procrastination, the sabotage with money as well, the not feeling worthy of earning money, the cycle of gain and loss that I've had in my life and that I've finally overcome as well. So if you have any poverty wiring questions about how to develop wealth wiring and abundance wiring and freedom, financial security wiring, that kind of stuff, then please ask questions. I'll try and keep the answers to a minute and guide you if I don't have the answer to another resource. Body confidence. And that self-esteem around body confidence is another topic, because I struggled with that for 4 years, for 40 years. So for 4 decades of my life, I struggled with being embarrassed about my body, hating my body, judging my body, not liking what I saw in the mirror, not understanding the cycle of the effect that the disease that I'd been challenged by and the medications that I'd been on, not accepting the effect that was having on my body with weight gain or loss, not accepting the next topic, which is my battle with emotional eating and addictions to sugars and foods, etc. And I did, and 4 decades of battling with and hiding secret eating, emotional eating, comfort eating, stress eating, boredom eating, you name it. And the strategies I've used to overcome that and to have a comfortable relationship with my body and a comfortable relationship with what goes on in here too. And that comes to another topic, which is what goes on in here, the inner critic, that inner judgment, that lack of self-worth, that I'm useless, I'm hopeless. Battled with that for, as I said, 4 decades too, where it got, at some points it was bordering on depression. And for a lot of my 20s even, I was battling suicidal thoughts because I hated myself and my body that much, and then would sabotage myself. Remember, the other topic we're going to be dealing with is sabotage and procrastination. Would sabotage myself even though I didn't want to do this anymore. I'd make promises to myself every day, every week. There'd be a new promise that I was going to get fit or get healthy or stop binging or stop purging or all those sorts of things. And guess what? I would sabotage myself again. So the 5 topics: overcoming poverty cycle to develop wealth programming, the body confidence and being confident with our body and confident with our self-esteem within our body. Okay. Inner critic and self-doubt, overcoming the self-doubt wiring, the battle that's going on between the parts of ourselves that want something great and the parts of ourselves that are just judging it, convincing ourselves we can't, and reminding ourselves we've failed in the past. Inner critic wiring, sabotage and procrastination, they were my big challenges. So any questions on how to overcome sabotage and procrastination, excuses, all the stuff that's wired up with that perfectionism, is a symptom of that procrastination, and vice versa. Procrastination is a symptom of perfectionism. It's all connected. And the other topic is, of course, recovery from the symptoms of autoimmune disease. Now, there are a number of autoimmune diseases that I've been challenged by throughout my life, and I was diagnosed over 29 years ago. So I've been through the ups and downs of very, very many different symptoms of the autoimmune diseases that I was challenged by, including a stroke, including seizures, epilepsy, including kidney failure, heart conditions, pleurisy, pneumonias, skin conditions, hair loss, memory loss, you name it. There have been some real challenges that I've had to overcome to become the kind of person I am now, and to develop the potential that is only just blossoming in this last 10 years, that is only just starting to really blossom, so that I can live the life that I always dreamed of, I wanted to live, but did all of those things: the sabotage, the poverty cycle, the lack of body confidence, the inner critic, all of that stuff was sabotaging me throughout my entire life. And so if you have any questions around the recovery from autoimmune disease, inflammation in the body, I'm not saying I have all the answers. I'm not a medical practitioner. I am a therapist. However, there's always an emotional connection and a psychological connection to the trauma of chronic disease. So if there's something going on for you around that, or if you have any questions about how I recovered from particular symptoms, or how I coped with the stress of it, or how my family coped, or what are the thought processes that were involved in triggering, that would be assisting the trigger of a flare, all of that sort of stuff. Whatever the question, if I can answer it, I will. If I don't have the answer, I will direct you to the autoimmune associations, or I will direct you to other resources that might be able to help you. So overall, the questions around this: the mindset that overcomes these 5 areas: the poverty, the sabotage, the inner critic, the self-judgment, the self-doubt, and all of that stuff that then for me exacerbated the symptoms of autoimmune disease as well. So if you have questions associated with those kind of topics, relevant in any way, just email me just above, click on the link above, email me direct, and I will create a little 1-minute video with a tip on the types of techniques and strategies I've used to overcome it, the thinking or the mindset that's helped. In the meantime, I look forward to hearing from you, and it's time for you to be, more than be, to live it, to experience it, to have joy in it, your potential. Have fun, and we'll speak to you soon. Ooh, what a challenge.